What do we see in one is looking through the prism of physics? Because physics is such an incredible thing, you know. The word fascination, fascinate, fascinans, it comes from this mythology of the Skywalkers, right? And these were men from Mongolia from around 450 BC, and they would carry they had these special psychic and spiritual powers, and the most famous of them all is Abaris the Skywalker. And of course we get Luke Skywalker. That's where George Lucas stole that mythological symbolism from. But they actually had what in India is called siddhis. You know, they had this power to walk on air and to travel thousands of miles on foot, like barely touching the ground at great speeds. And it was sort of in the third chapter of the Yoga Sutras, there's 4 chapters. The whole focus is on spiritual powers, siddhis. So this was a power, and these men would carry an amulet made out of bronze of a penis with wings on it, and that was called a fascinans. And so when we come to our fascination with wormholes and black holes and quantum entanglement, and how you figure out the technology that can master hydrogen fusion, you know, these things are all completely fascinating. They are aligned with your origin sense of that word, where you bring the specter of your active power, you know, the masculine energy to do things. I'm not talking about men, I'm talking about the masculine power, like I will explore this and I will go into this and I will, and physics is really sort of the pinnacle of that, together with chemistry and mathematics and biology, you know, because from those mother disciplines you get all the other things that lead to the wonderment of technology in the world. And it's only with that instrument of open-mindedness and fascination that you get breakthroughs in technology and medicine, and none of that can be faulted. All of it is wonderful, and you know, that's how we appropriate awe in the world today. And you know, if you see Richard Feynman, he says, I'm not really interested in what we name something or the mythology behind it. I'm interested in figuring out how it works. Well, ironically, metaphysics is also interested in that, but the problem with physics, and it's, you know, and there's no problem in the sense of its practical application, but the problem, well, unless we're using it to, you know, throw nuclear weapons at each other, but the problem becomes that one gets lost in trying to fix the world and make it a better place. And there's no problem with that on a certain relative level. But I think his name's Brian May, a British physicist, and he talks about like the almost infinite universes, and he's like so well versed in all this astrophysics, and it's inspiring to hear him talk, because he's taken that, you know, that amulet of the fascinans and gone far, far off into, you know, standing on the shoulders of giants, into the mystery of this wonderful James Hubble telescope, and the mastery of technology that's to follow in the lineup of those kind of instruments. And you know, he's talked to the public about what we've mapped and what we've learned, and how we've found, you know, the biggest black hole in the known universe, and how we've plotted that these, you know, billions of galaxies that are circling around each other, and there's trillions of stars. And when you listen to someone like that, you get 2 feelings. One is like, God, how small we are in this vastness, you know, and how amazing and vast and incredible and mind-blowing and fascinating the whole physical universe is. And that's the first feeling you get. And then you can feel somewhat humble, which is beautiful in light of that. But you can also feel a little bit nihilistic, like, no, there's no purpose to anything. And that's where metaphysics comes in, because it says, well, you know, that vastness of space and time that was created, that was expanding, and will eventually come to retraction, you know, or we think it will. We don't know. We've got all these theories, and we're trying to join the quantum world at the very level of the very small to the vastness of space. And we get lost in it. But then metaphysics comes along and says, yes, but that creation has got nothing to do with God. It's got nothing to do with sanity. There's humility in studying it, but and fascination, but it's just a projection of a fearful thought that seems incredibly powerful. And then, enlightened approaches to psychotherapy and spiritual practice come along. And you either get it or you don't. And there's no belief system that goes with it. Belief systems are about you following my God or my atheism or my whatever totem pole you have in your mind to explain the universe. That's what belief systems are about. But gnosis, or intelligence in its rawest and most sophisticated form, and when I mean rawest and most sophisticated, I mean most basic, not most primitive, but like most essential, and therefore most sophisticated, because there's nothing you can take away or add to it or detract from it to make it better, right? That's what I mean by that. When you come upon that kind of reflection regarding perception and the nature of what you see with the body's eyes and the instruments of the electromagnetic spectrum that zone in on different frequencies of the electromagnetic spectrum, different wavelengths, what you see with those kind of eyes, how you see those eyes that are looking reveal how you're looking. And that's the great power of metaphysics. And so when you look at Brian May in this incredible realm of physics, you're kind of fascinated and in awe of our capacity as humans to innovate and to be open-minded and to change our cosmology. And it's fascinating. Fascinating is the right word, and it's interesting. But it's sort of a cul-de-sac at a certain level, because yes, we'll go closer and closer into our understanding of the nature of the illusion, and quantum physics will help us in that role. But the great breakthroughs that are to come in time and space in our understanding of the nature of fundamental forces, those things go on. But the journey of the mystic, you can be a great scientist, and that's what Norman's character is in Bodhisutra. He's a great scientist who becomes enlightened, and so he can see through all the illusions of the gods of mythology and the people that take them literally. But at the same time, he can see through the substantial facts that come with science and see that at the root of all those facts is a perceiver. And the perceiver sees what the facts of his perception revealed to him. But then the knower recognizes that the perceiver is not who he is. And so the whole realm of perception is brought into question. And so the whole vast, expanding, incredible expanse of space and time is seen to be a relativistic truth. And that's where, the rubber hits the road in terms of going beyond logic, right? And the essence of the seat of Western civilization is founded on logos, which is the wisdom of the whole, or what the Christians appropriated as, the word, meaning like when you start to see with logos, when you start to see the whole picture, the holistic view, and you manage yourself and your mind in such a way that transcends fear. You don't condemn the people that don't operate at the level of logos. They're doing their best as they understand things now. And you will be much further along in the illusion of time and space as you explore the nature of your deepest self. You are evolving you're evolving in the sense that you're perfecting your capacity to see beyond the misperceived perceiver. right? You are on a journey. Everyone is on that journey. And so I wanted to record this to sort of discuss the word fascinating, right? Because you can angle that masculine focus, that masculine drive in yourself towards emancipation, or you can angle it towards like this humble scientist that is fascinated with the physical universe and get trapped in saying, well, I'll never know what really is going on here. Whereas you go to a Ramana Maharshi or a Course in Miracles teaching, and there's an experiential change within you that comes to know, like Carl Jung was asked, do you believe in God? And he says, I do not believe in God, but I know there is a God, right? So he's coming from a place where he's gone a long way down the path of gnosis. Gnosis is this state where you're coming to know what transcends human knowledge, like based on thought. You're coming to a deeper awareness. You're coming into the realm of the mystical. And then as you go further into that, you'll just describe yourself as a normal human being, because you don't want to be, look at me, I'm a mystic, I'm special. Everything is mystical, everything is profound, everything is, yeah, it is, but it's matter of fact profound, like the profundity, the de profundis that you move through the waters in the depths, in yourself, becomes commonplace. And then this extraordinary universe becomes ordinary, but relative to your old self, you see it in an extraordinary manner. But that becomes ordinary, that's the movement. Like that's why Carl Jung, he described himself as a mystic. Peter Kingsley, who's an acolyte of Jung and these great men that started Western civilization, he wrote a book about Barrister Skywalker, a beautiful book, a story that's waiting to pierce you. Like fascination, you're pierced by the arrow of the fascinans. But do you use that to trap yourself in illusions, or to see the illusions for what they are? That's the right use of fascination. It's to bring you to liberation from fear and duality and the self-concept that traps you in the goo of the ego, and you identify with that goo when it's got nothing to do with who you are. And it was sort of like when I went to do a university degree in psychotherapy, I said, I don't get angry. And I got angry when they attacked me, because I was like, well, I stated a truth, the deep wisdom of the Course I've given in Miracles, I've given my life to that, and I've practiced it, and I've gotten much, much more peaceful. But then I just threw myself off a cliff in terms of depth when I said that, and I got attacked, because I was like, why are you attacking me? Like, I haven't done anything wrong. And then my victim mind came in, and it was a justified victim mind. I mean, I'd been threatened, I'd been undermined, because the things I was saying were coming from a place that the consciousness around me was just very threatened by. And that was a lesson for me, but it was also a lesson that in mainstream psychotherapy, in mainstream academia, in mainstream science, the deepest intelligence is very threatening in general, because the status quo and the vested interests that go with it are based, for the most part, on the movement of insecurity. Now, I'm not saying that insecurity can't do marvels, Oppenheimer's work was incredible, right? Unleashed the power of the atom in a way we'd never seen before, changed history. But then what do? We drop it on Japan, and then we lead to this incredible arms race. So the ego will take anything of the world and use it for its own ends, and wisdom will do the same. And it's a choice, like which path you wish to take. And the second path, the path of wisdom, always leads you internally to a place that transcends the world. And so you're not interested so much in being, someone important in the world, and if you are, that's okay. I mean, Marcus Aurelius, he was like one of the greatest Stoics of all time. He was one of the most powerful people in the world, but he was so humble before that position. Abraham Lincoln too, right? But these characters, or Shakespeare, Anyone that's gotten to their greatness, they've tapped into something that transcends accumulation, transcends the power trip to the world that makes them feel they've arrived somewhere of importance. The truly humble man is only interested in undermining those illusions to find his way home to himself. And then he becomes a mirror, or she becomes a mirror, you know. Like Walt Whitman had hardly any money, he had such a humble existence, but he was this great poet that saw into the future of the power and majesty of the United States. And he had inklings in that sort of humility of his deeper nature, and he wanted people to see that, and so he became the Bard of America. And it was profound. And you know, poets, they do that. They're caught in a trap of finding words to match the beauty of what's inescapable inside them, and that's a very challenging life for many. But whether you're a pilot on a ship or a pilot in the sky or you're a pilot of your own life, all you're doing is navigating through your fears, right? And you may be doing it with total ignorance, like completely unaware that your fears are ruling your mind, right? Condemning this person, condemning yourself. And then as awareness starts to grow in you, a different set of thoughts about what's actually going on starts to surface. And that's the Buddha mind, that's the Christ mind, you know. And it has no, like, there's no hierarchy of idols there. There's just coming back to the self and the dropping of the illusion that the world is real.